Again, we've got to stop using our local businesses as ATM machines. And you know, I have to say, I sometimes feel like I'm in the Soviet Union here with all this centralized planning mentality, this idea that the city has to have its fingers in everything, has to direct everything. Well, you know, it didn't work for the Soviet Union. It doesn't seem to be working for the city council. I believe in free markets and free minds.
You know, the Lake Tahoe Prosperity Plan identifies one of the clusters as health and wellness. And I think that we have a fabulous opportunity to make that very profitable for the city of South Lake Tahoe. And I'm not talking about the city in general, but as us as individuals, doctors, patients. We have the opportunity in orthopedics to be world class. Many people that are injured while they are here would choose to get their procedure done here than to go home where somebody only does it once or twice a year. Sports medicine, wellness. I think we could be an excellent center for wellness. People that are overweight, have chronic disease, can come to Tahoe and work within our beautiful lake and environment. I think health and wellness is what makes so many of us active in our later years, because we have been active during our lifetime. So I think it's a great future for the city.
I think as small as our community is, we're lucky to have a facility at the hospital is. And I mean, I'm lucky I can go over there because I've been back here when I'm sick, and hopefully it stays that way. But I think if in order to generate more revenue, maybe something that the LTVA may look at doing, incorporated into some part of their advertising as this being a world-class destination. It may also be for the hospital also. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Tina Carlson from the California Tahoe Conservancy. The Conservancy's been in the community for some time. We just celebrated our 25-year anniversary, so we're quite interested in supporting the community and seeing the community prosper. So our question is, in recent years we have increasingly heard that our environment is dependent on a healthy economy, and our economy is dependent on a healthy environment. What does that phrase mean to you? And with that in mind, what do you believe the role the city has in restoring our environment, particularly the clarity of the lake, while promoting economic vitality?
I spend the majority of my free time until I have out in the forest because I run every day. And so the environment is very important to me. My major concerns are the amount of pollutants going into our water system and our air. I mean, how much fertilizer people use up here, and it all drains right into our water sources. And one of my major concerns is if you go into the Tahoe Keys, go look at the water in the Keys itself. It's unbelievable how filthy it is. Something has to be done because that is probably the main source of polluting in this lake. So that should be addressed in such a thing. Stop that, at least stop that water from going into the lake.
You know, I think we've come to realize that the triple bottom line is where we need to come from. The economy, the community, and the environment all must be weighed when we are evaluating a project. So if we evaluate a project that's in an SEZ, we don't approve it. If we evaluate a project that is on land that is not surrounded by any natural environmental hazard, then we should move forward on that project if it's going to economically move the community forward. In relationship to the lake clarity, I think we really need to look at the total daily maximum load, fine sediment getting to the lake. I truly believe that development reduces fine sediment to the lake. When we drive today and we drive on dirt, it collects on our tires, which then goes into the lake. If we were able to develop BMPs and also coverage for many of those dirt areas, we would reduce the fine sediment to the lake and improve our lake clarity.
Hi, Steve Covey again. I'd like to read you something from the TRPA's own compact, Article 6, powers. Whenever possible, not when they feel like it, not when they think it might be a good idea, but whenever possible, without diminishing the effectiveness of the regional plan, the ordinances, rules, regulations, and policies shall be confined to matters which are general and regional in application, leaving to the jurisdiction of the respective states, counties, and cities the enactment of specific and local ordinances and rules, regulations, and policies which conform to the regional plan. We don't have that today. We have a federal agency that's gone completely berserk, is intruding on private residences and assuming powers that they do not have.
To answer the question, it's really important, and I said this in 1992 when I first ran, you have a healthy economy, you have a healthy environment, vice versa. This is a jewel of the world. This is how we make our living. Anyone here want to destroy the lake? Absolutely not. The city's been extremely successful over the past few years of getting erosion control grants. You've been down the state line, that project there, the one at Garden Mountain, Ski Run. We need to continue to get those grants to help contribute to filter the runoff. The major source of runoff here in the South Shore is Highway 50, which is a U.S. Highway 50, which is a federal government Caltrans responsibility. I have advocated we're going to have some curbs and sidewalks starting next year. That will have intercepts that come in and take the water and filter it before it gets out into the lake. And I'm very proud that I worked on. I started out in 1992. You've got to have persistence and you have to have cooperation. You can't have attacking the agencies and things like that to get things done because they'll shut you down. And we've got forever to try to get back that cooperation. And you can see TRP talking about the economy is very important now.
The city has been privileged to have an excellent partnership with the CTC, and I hope that continues for the next 25 years or longer. I have a confession to make. I did not attend the geotourism seminars. I read all their handouts, and I found it extremely interesting. The economy and the environment go together in aging infrastructures that are 90% covered and contributing to the pollution of the lake. When we have any new project, whether it's a city project or a private project, there are new regulations that are very strict concerning the environment. So if we can remove an aging structure that is environmentally harmful and develop a new building that meets all the codes, has the BMPs and the appropriate coverage. Wouldn't that be better?
This has been a raging battle in Lake Tahoe for 100 years. 50 years ago, as we were desperately trying to build highways all the way around the perimeter of the lake, a group of Lake Tahoe business people got together called the Lake Tahoe, name slips my mind. However, what they did was to say, you know what, we're destroying what we have. Let's stop, let's look at this again, let's come up with a plan to save the environment. And that was essentially the seeds for what is now the TRPA. This is what's happening now. We still are fighting desperately on this battle. But the difference is that we all know, right here is where the environment is. What we're now trying to catch up with is how do we get the economy to do the sustaining, to be able to keep the environment as we want, as we need. The only way we're going to do it, because the biggest single place for sediment and runoff is through redevelopment and redevelopment projects that look at a whole area as opposed to house by house.
The us versus them mentality doesn't work. It doesn't work at the Tahoe Keys and it doesn't work at the city. So we need to work together with these agencies in order to come up with solutions that are going to be economically feasible.
We need to look at our infrastructure, which is what I've been saying all along, our infrastructure. We can't ask homeowners to install BMPs on their properties when the city doesn't have curbs or gutters or storm drains on their streets. It's putting the cart in front of the horse. We need to get every street with storm drains, and then if we get successful in getting grant funding, which we have been, which has been wonderful for many neighborhoods who have gotten storm drains and curbs, we need to have money in our operating budget to maintain those storm drains, because they do need to be cleaned out, and there is ongoing maintenance once you build it. So we need to have that long-range plan as to how we're going to fund this. You know, up until this year, the city didn't spend $1 on storm drains. You know, we had grant funding to build it, but nothing to maintain the existing ones. So we need to have a long-range plan as to how we're going to make this happen and work together.
The quality of our economy and the quality of our environment rests on our community taking, along with the rest of the basin, taking responsibility for the quality of our infrastructure. Right now, it's run down, it's inadequate, and it is causing damage. You've heard plenty of talk about it. But let me focus on what I think CTC is asking, which is how is the city going to position itself? What kind of leadership will the city bring with a new council to addressing those issues? Let's talk about the new redevelopment area. I see exciting opportunities because we do need to deal with stormwater, and the city needs to be the leader on it. It will not be done by individual businesses or homeowners. And let's talk about that Eloise neighborhood where we have, how many of you go through there and understand how much water retention issue there is in the area? That's a great opportunity to take one block at a time, it's actually 5 blocks, a whole area, and improve the stormwater situation, which leads to the BMPs and starts helping to deal with light and broad improvement of those communities. That's the profile that you need to move forward successfully.
I think in South Lake Tahoe we are a mecca for environmental issues, and we should be the poster child for every small city across the board who has environmental